The feeling that you get when you've completed your bow is it's almost undescribable. It's something that you worked at. You started with a piece of wood that come from the tree, and you worked it and work it and work it until you develop it into the bow that you want. And so when you've put all that work into that bow, again, there's not a feeling like it. It's a craft. It's something to do. It's fun. It's artistic. You can be creative. Every bow is different. You design the bow that you want to use, so you can exercise your creativity. You can exercise what skills you have as far as woodworking. My name is Wayne Scribner, and I'm a Chickasaw bow maker. I was first exposed to bow making a little over 30 years ago. I had the opportunity to, I was working on a job and met one of our old traditional bow makers. And so we would go up at lunchtime and talk with him, and he would tell us a little bit of the history behind his bow making and why he did certain things, some of his techniques. And from there, I just kind of developed an early passion for it, piddled around with it a little bit. And of course, I was a young man at that time, and so I never forgot what he taught me, but I kind of walked away from it. And a little later in life, when I began to settle down and get a little smarter and understand that our bow making was going away and that someone had to keep the tradition alive, well, I picked it back up. And from there, I just began bow making. Tillering process is where the magic takes place. Anybody can take a stick and take a knife and make it look like a bow, and if it's just laying on the table, it looks like, well, that looks like a bow right there. But the magic is when you begin to tiller that stick to match you, the draw length and the weight that you're trying to achieve. That's where it all takes place. One of the things that elder told me when I was first introduced to it, but what he told me is that when you have that piece of wood that you're working on, that piece of bow art, if it wants to be a bow, it'll be a bow. And if it doesn't want to be a bow, no matter what you do, you will wear yourself out trying to make it be a bow. So you know pretty quick right off if you've got a good piece of wood or not. Certainly when you're working on a bow, you can't help but think about you're doing the same thing that your ancestors did. So that's what is the neat thing about building a bow for yourself. It's personalized. It's really a personal thing to build a bow for yourself or for someone else. So I decided a long time ago I wasn't going to sell my bows. I make them, they're all gifts. I've given away several bows, and I think it just means more to a person when you give them a gift of something that you put that time and that care into, and all the skill that it took to build that bow. I think people appreciate it when they receive a gift like that. My family means a great deal to me, and my oldest son shoots. He's actually quite good. My youngest son hadn't started shooting yet, but I did. I build what's called a birth bow when they were born, and it's just a small child's bow, and it's dated with their date of birth, and their initials are burned into the bow. All my bows bear my mark, which is two staffs that are crossed. The two staffs represent from when we were in the old lands, which is in Mississippi, and now we're here in Oklahoma the new. So the two staffs represent the two different times in our history of our tribe. And then, of course, the S underneath the two staffs is for my last name, Scribner. Well, I'm absolutely grateful for what I'd learned from that elder in bow building, because now I can apply what I know and the skills that I've developed over the years that I've been building. Hopefully I'm passing that on to my two sons. I'll also pass it on to anyone that wants to learn. And had it not been for that elder that taught me those skills or showed me those techniques and those tricks of the trade, I wouldn't be able to pass those on. So I'm more than happy to pass those on. I guess that's the whole secret. It's the kids. We got to get the kids involved, get it back to where it's interesting to the kids, show them how much fun that it can be, and we'll have lots of bow builders in the future.